Thank you for tuning in, letting everybody really connect during these times. So, a lot of you, a lot of you know who I am if you were probably on either one of my socials, and that I'm the CEO of the Collective Global. But I think during these times when we're all at home, I'm also a dad to three amazing boys, Caleb, Grayson, and Will. They're 12, 10, and 7, and an unbelievable wife who puts up with me and does things like this during a work from home situation, to where whenever I start anything, whenever I do anything, I want to make sure that I have a purpose, a process, and a payoff that I'm going to take people through, because it's really important. And I tell anybody, as a leader, if you don't have one of those three things, don't have a meeting, don't have an Instagram live, don't do anything if you don't have those three things. So the purpose is really provide a place here for leaders, whether you lead your family or whether you lead, in the workplace, is, to really hear some stories around these relevant times. Share our best practices, our thoughts and ideas from things that we've worked on, and then bring on subject matter experts that just know it better than me and better than everybody, that works on our team, because I think that they can explain it a lot better. That's really the purpose of what this is, and to have a real conversation about real things going on. The process we're going to take you through is just taking all of our thoughts and experiences and put those out there for you guys. We're going to interview really thought leaders in specific spaces over the month of April. And then our job is to connect the dots, really try to help connect those dots, for all of you. The payoff is that we would use this community, this opportunity to learn and grow and really engage, with each other, and maybe learn from each other, during this time. So that's really the purpose, process, and payoff of really what we're doing today. And I want to make that clear for everybody. And if you're a client or a family member or whatever, a friend that's on this, I think we really want to make sure that that's clear. As you know, I run a firm called the Collective Global, where our mission is that we exist to restore humanity in the workplace, challenge leaders' hearts, and lead teams to the path of true transformation. Now, whether that can be a leader at home or at work, it can bridge both of those gaps. So a lot of what we're going to talk about today will bridge that gap. Our vision is to awaken purpose at work and home. Our goal with that is to really kind of ignite that. And we're not there to, be the expert in getting you there. We're to want to wake it up and say, hey, maybe there's some things that we're going to talk about today that might be down deep in the gut, or even in your heart, that we're really going to engage you with. And so really over the past decade, we've worked in this construct that is really a three-phase journey that we take everybody on. And we use these centristic circles, and I'm going to use little props today as we go through things. So if you see those, it's really a three-phase journey that the collective walks through, whether it's at work or whether it's at home, whether it's with your family, whether it's with your team, it doesn't matter. And what we're going to really focus on today, what we're really going to go after, is just using my own experiences and being truthful and honest with you, talking about experiences with clients and maybe studying some of the other leaders that we have in history. But we're really going to focus on what I call the journey in, right? The journey in, which is current state, mission, vision, and unity. And that's a very part of, hey, we're all locked in right now. A lot of us can't go anywhere. And the goal is we really want you to journey in during this time, because we think there's a massive opportunity. And what we've done what we discovered about this path is that we went in and we looked at the most transformational leaders, organizations, movements, sports teams, and even families. And we found out there's a very specific order to become either any one of those things and come out the other end and say, I want to be that in an excellent, influential, and purposeful way. To go through, and I'm really excited about it. But since the collective really focuses on work and we also focus on home, I'll be sharing points today. But as I share those points, I'm going to give you things that are going to work and be integrated in the work side of it and as well as the home side of it. And then at the very end, I'm going to give us an exercise that we can all do. And if you stay on for that, and kind of really give you what we believe can be beneficial to you over this month of April, where a lot of us are going to stay put. So the first thing, as I explained, was, the current state, where we are today. And the number one point under that is that whether you're at home being a leader, about how you're feeling. And I think as we do that, there's some good things that I've used in my own experience, in my own journey, that I would like to share with you guys. What does that really mean, Brad? Like what exactly are you talking about when you say, hey, be a human and be a leader first? There's this great book out there from Chip Dodd called "We've Got Some Time Now." This is really something that I've been working on myself over the last really probably 18 months to 2 years, is discovering how I am in this current situation and in whatever situation it is. And a lot of us, which is very fascinating, we're all in a similar position, whether it be with our family or with our work. We are all have some feelings about what is going on. Now, I'm not the expert in this. All I can tell you is what I'm doing and really check in with myself and be a human in front of you today. So what does that even mean, Brad, when you say humans and feelings and all that stuff? And how do I bring it at work? And how do I even do it at home? Well, I've been using these 8 words, and I'm going to have you guys look at these for a second. So you got hurt, lonely, sad, anger, fear, shame, guilt, right? And glad. So take a look at those for a second. Think about them. And what I want you to do, if you're so willing, because I'm going to check in first. And I'm going to say that I'm glad because I'm here with you guys. I have some fear because I don't know how this is going to go, and I don't know how you're going to receive it, and I don't know what's going on with my business in this current situation. I don't know what's going on with, just financials. I'm sad because I don't get the opportunity to maybe be with some of you and get the and stay with our families and our friends. So that even maybe carries into some loneliness. But my ability to kind of check in and understand how I feel in front of others is important to my own processing of this current situation, that we're in. So I'm going to ask something pretty bold right now. And if you can in the comments, and, I'm going to hold these back up and say, what are you guys feeling right now? You can put them in if you feel bold to do that. I just shared, try to open up that door. I have some, definite fear if anybody's going to do this or not. And, so I think that your ability to connect into these core 8 emotions and how you're feeling right now, and put a comment, in the IG or even in the Facebook side, and just check in with how you're feeling, because that's all I'm asking you right now. Is we all have feelings about what's going on, and I think it's important for us to really connect with those so we can actually go be better for ourselves and for others in this current moment, however we are. So. Sit in it for a second, and I think that as we go through, and I would give you something to do as a leader, is that have a human check-in. And it might not involve maybe these specific questions, but just ask your team, how they're feeling. And you share first. And make sure you don't try to fix them. And just say thank you for letting them to be able to open, because right now there's a lot of lives that are affected. And thank for some of you, sharing, sad and glad and fear. Thank you, Ethan, and sad, Ziggy. Thank you so much for sharing. And that's some honesty. And one of my mentors said that in order for us to even connect with maybe something in the past or what our feelings are currently, we have to say it like 30 times. In order for it to even start to resonate and produce healing. So if you're not checking in somewhere, we call it this kind of keeping that beach ball underwater. And we've all tried to do that and float and fall. So I think that as you're thinking about being a leader at work, all your people are sitting at dinner tables where they have feelings about what's going on. And so we need to ask them, how are we feeling right now? What are your biggest concerns? What do you need? And don't let them just talk about professional. Let them talk about personal as well. And I would challenge you as leaders on the work side that any tough decisions, any communicating of those decisions, when you're being a human, try to get face-to-face like this. I know we have phone calls and stuff, but Zoom is a great thing. Google Hangouts a great thing. We need to see people's faces during these times, and we're kind of having issues and problems and stuff we got to talk through. And so I feel it's critical for us, when we're thinking about communicating with anybody on our team and our employees, that we spend that time over the next 30 to 60 days connecting face to face, over Zoom so we can see each other. It's critical. The next thing that I would say is that, when you're thinking about being a human, obviously at work, but there's also that, how do you do it at home? And I would say that, for me, and I'll give a personal example, when I've used these 8 words and using the same thing, Voices of the Heart by Chip Dodd, with my kids, there's a specific example with one of my children that, I really couldn't get to read what was going on. I said, "What's going on, buddy?" And this was Grayson. And he said, he was kind of sad and I could feel it. And he wouldn't kind of open up about it. And what was amazing to me is that, I laid that piece of paper in front of him and I actually took a napkin and wrote it down. And I said, "What are you feeling, buddy? What are you feeling?" And he said, "Anger." I said, "Okay, well, why do you feel that anger?" Because I could see he was upset. And he goes, "One of my buddies decided not to be my buddy anymore." And I said, "Wow." I said, "How does that make you feel?" He said, "Sad." I said, "Yeah, man, I feel sad with you. That sucks. That's not cool, man." But it's this moment that we get the opportunity to say, how can I get to a more deeper conversation with my kids, with my wife, and understanding, because there's fear at the dinner table right now. There's some sadness, there's some loneliness. So how do we bring that up and at least talk about it during these times? And I would challenge you, get the book, Voices from the Heart, do a simple check-in and just talking about it. And I believe that would be, extremely helpful, to you and your team, as you go through these times. That was point number 2. So be a human and a leader at work and home. Now, as I said, there was that second phase. If you look at the journey in, you had the current state. That's a great way to kind of understand current state of your team and yourself. But then there's also everything that people usually say, these mission, vision, and values of an organization for work and home. But then I'm going to also talk about how do you have those and maybe pivot with those as you're thinking about it from a home standpoint. Well, a lot of the people, when you create those mission, vision, and values, they're on the letterhead at the bottom or they're somewhere in your organization. You don't know, unfortunately, what they are. And if I gave everybody a white piece of paper and said, write those for your organization, I would probably say that most of you couldn't write down the mission, vision, and values for your organization, unfortunately. If you work with me, you better be able to do that because we focus on that. But I would say every single person who's either created these or had a great company who really lives them, or you need them right now, is when you're in these moments that is just absolutely critical, for you to make decisions and for you to really engage with your people, is that you need to bring the human parts of your mission, vision, and values out. And then you need to pick certain words that you bring into conversation. And if it's empathy, if it's excellence, if it's trust, if it's whatever value, whatever part of your mission, whatever part of your vision statement that you believe is critical to opening up conversation, to have more real conversations with your people at work, I would challenge you and encourage you to do so, because they're in there. An amazing time to actually push in and actually say, you know what, we're going to really live these right now, because living your mission, vision, and values right now are critical, and they're so important because those are you're supposed to be your guiding lights. I tell people that when you have communications out, this is a vulnerability thing for us. This is one of our values, right? Relationships, heart. We're going to talk about those things right now, and I'm communicating that to you. So when you're with your teams or you're with your organization or you have a chance to talk to your leader, tell them to use those words and use this as a human part, because there's a massive opportunity right now in this moment. Leaders, whether you're at work or whether you're at home, people are going to remember these next 30 to 60 days for a very long time. How you treated them, how you gave them a place to talk, and how you really lived your mission, vision, and values. Now on the home front, I really love the opportunity to talk about mission, vision, and values at home. We talk a ton of them about work, right? And we talk like, how do we use those at work? But I think that these next 30, 60 days, if we have to be at home, whatever that may be, I'm telling you, this is a gift we've all been given for our families. I'm going to say it again. This is a gift that we've been given, even in the craziness of work from home and going, oh my gosh, how do I work? People maybe not have done that before. How do I work from home with my kids and my wife? And if I go downstairs, am I down there a couple hours? My challenge to you is this an opportunity to kind of reassess? Can you reassess what you believe, what your family unit should be? Can you sit down and go, you know what? It might be hard to connect when you're at work and not at home. You're given a gift to be home the next 30 days. And what if you could sit down with your family? What if you could provide a new direction? What if you could just have more time to connect? When you think about mission, vision, and values for your family. There's this unbelievable IKEA commercial that I want to reference here. And I hope this hits all the parents and all the people, maybe have nieces and nephews and whatever. I hope that this hits with you. At Christmas, there was this IKEA commercial called The Other Letter. And what it was is they had kids sit down, and the first question was this: what do you want for Christmas? And all the kids went nuts, and they're like, I want this and that, which is awesome. And then IKEA, and I challenge you to go get it on YouTube. It's amazing. It's called The Other Letter with IKEA. What would you ask your parents for Christmas? Not like gifts, but like from them. And you saw the kids kind of just like, what? And then they kind of explained a little bit more, and then they started writing. And then what happened is then they delivered these letters of like, hey, here's what your kid wanted from Santa, and then they said, here's the other letter, right? And you know what the kids said? Spend more time with me. Pay attention to us. Put your phone down. Tickle me. That's what Will would say. Read us a story. Play a sport with me. Connect. The parents were asked, does this surprise you? And all of them said no. This doesn't surprise us. And I'm sure in the generation that we're living in now, doesn't surprise us either. And I think that we have a massive opportunity to change that narrative right now. And what was amazing, there was one last question that they asked the kids. They came back at the end. They said, you can give one of these letters. Which letter do you want to give your parent? Mail. And all of the kids wanted to mail the letter to the parent, not to Santa. Me even saying that is just powerful. And I think that when you think about, hey, what could we do right now? We have an unprecedented time to reassess what we want to be as a family when we're thinking about mission, vision, and values. To slow down, to take a look at our lives and say, wow, I'm personally not running to 15 soccer practices and back to back and hurry. We get the moment to sit at dinner and oh my gosh, what a gift. We get the opportunity to sit out by the fire. We get the opportunity to read with our kids, do devotionals in the morning. Could we really reassess our lives right now? And I think that there's a lot of great resources out there, and there's a lot of things that you could do to do that. And for us, we have a free resource we've been using for years and pumping out, and you've probably seen before, called our Kids and Family Plan. And this is what it is. Sorry, my guy said. So this is what it looks like if you actually go to our website, okay, and go to familyplan.com. You can go download it. It is free. We're not even asked for an email or anything. It's free. You can go do that. And for our family, which I think's pretty awesome. Our boys and I, we sat down a while ago, but we're living these right now. ROAR: relationships, ownership, ambition, and respect. That is, I have 3 boys. 4 if you ask Jen. I'm one. And the relationships are key. Relationship with God, family, friends, ownership, whether it's good or bad, ambition, let's go after something, and then respect. We use these. And when the boys walk up and down and roar like a lion is what I want them to be, because they have that unbelievable opportunity right now to learn what it means to lead and to be a lion and even still be a boy as they go into manhood, is that this picture, done by one of a great friend of ours, Sam Ornelas, is as they walk up and down the stairs to the bonus room, this painting is there, and they see that. And I think that we had the opportunity to say, what does ownership mean? And it's pretty cool as we navigate not knowing how to work from home and not knowing how to navigate that. We asked them, what do they want to learn? And we got in life skills and said, what do you want to do in life skills? What do you want to build? What do you want to create? What do you want to do at school? All those things. And the boys owned what they want to learn, and they've been doing it. It's been amazing. You know, they're all different, which is cool. And they had some ownership in creating their own plan on what they wanted during this time. So we were living our mission, our values of our family. I encourage you all, there's an activity that you can do over the next couple of weeks with your family, but there's other great ones out there. So go and please reassess right now. See what's important to you, because it's going to be helpful. If there's any questions that anybody has during this, please, I know that my guys are putting, links to that in each one of the comments down below. But I want to pause for just a second as I get into this last piece, the really bullet number 3, and ask, is there any questions that anybody has? If you can, again, we've talked about, obviously being a human and a leader. What that looks like, checking in with yourself, understanding your feelings, understanding your team's feelings, how your family is feeling, understanding the mission, vision, and values and living those as a leader, and getting your people to understand how important those are critical right now. And then maybe doing that for your family, reassessing what's important to you, reassessing, maybe we need to make a shift as a family. If we could kind of do that right now, what would that look like? So if there's any questions, please. I always wanted to stop kind of halfway through and do that. And then finally, and if anybody has asked a question, I will, how do I get my hair to stay like that, Jordan? No, that's Brian. You've known me a long time, a lot of work. All right, so the last question, last point that I want to come up with, obviously number 1's in current state, knowing who we are, be a human and a leader. Number 2, live your mission, vision, and values, which is mission and vision. And then finally, unity, who's in this with you? And the last point is don't do it alone. It's really easy to kind of go isolated right now. It's really easy to not understand, but it can be a really tough time for leaders right now, whether you're isolated or unprepared or scared about what the future could hold, because guess what? You're not alone. We all are. And we all have feelings about it. And I think that if you can engage and learn from some people and connect people at maybe your similar leader levels and say, hey, let's just start a group and let's text in, let's do a text stream, let's do a Zoom call, let's do an email stream, whatever you want to do to connect. I was talking with a good buddy of mine, yesterday, and he said, Brad, there's coaching and development and sharing and ideas and that, but like right now, we need process groups, because all of us are processing what we want right now and what we need right now and how the world is working right now. And so we need these process groups because, we need to discuss our fears. We need to share our biggest leadership challenges at work and at home and discuss the best practices, with the people that are there to say, how do we actually engage and learn from each other? You need that community right now. And I would encourage you to just start getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people to do that. And so you're saying like, well, who is that? I think that a great person a long time ago, a mentor of mine said, Brad, do you have a 10, 20, and 30 year guy? And I'm like, what's that? You have a guy that's 10 years, 20 years, and 30 years older than that you actually seed into. Because the guy 10 years, a little bit older than me, has kids that are just going to college while I have little kids. You have guys 10 years older than that, just out of college and getting grandkids. And then the sage part of who we are. And I would encourage you, maybe start thinking about who that 10, 20, and 30 year guy and girl is for you. And if I'm, 39, and who's that 29 and 19-year-old that I really need to pour into and who can I get together? And then maybe we process this all together, because there's going to be some wisdom from the older group and there's going to be some wisdom from the younger group. So I'd highly encourage you to think about that as who do I get virtually together other than my peers? And then finally, as you go through this and think about, don't do it alone, is that I got recently sent from one of my mentors, definitely a psychologist, is there's going to be a lot of things that come out of this, and depression and isolation and the psychological effects of that, especially in the healthcare space, and the people doing that. And I think that as we think through these next weeks, months, maybe the rest of the years, I would encourage all of you to get a coach and help somebody, to get them help you through that. And have just somebody to bounce things off of. I would say that I would encourage you to, if you need it, get a therapist. People are like, oh, I don't need that. Wrong. Like, I do it. I'm in a group that does it. And I think that you have to have a place where you can put your emotions, talk about your toughest things, and have them dig into those, because it's extremely important to this time, because we need leaders to take care of yourself. Because when you take care of yourself, you can take care of others. And if you need to process those things, you need to get a coach or a therapist to go through that. When on the home front, I think that you have those family Zoom times. I know that my sister's been doing, some things with her, like high school friends she hasn't been able to get with in a while. And then she's done things with her people across the country, and then some other places that she lived. And that's awesome. They're like connecting. And then, go visit, but stay 6 feet away of, the elderly and the people that are older, and really have them be connected with them, because they need that right now. And we've seen so many amazing good story stuff that's going on. And I highly encourage all of you to really, don't do it alone, and don't let others do it alone. Somebody you need to call. Somebody that needs whatever you're thinking about today. So call them, text them, write down 3 people right now that you need to call and text, and do it today. And just say, you know what? Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Let me see how you're doing. So, as I get close to here wrapping up and really just sharing those 3 things as you think about today, is the journey in, right? The current state, our feelings, right? Getting to those things. I think it's critical for all of us to be able to check in with those things. I think it's important for all of us to live our mission, vision, and values at work and at home. And if you don't have those, I highly encourage you, use our free resource online to do that. And then finally, don't do it alone. Get on Zoom. Stay 6 feet apart, and talk to your people in your neighborhood. Just whatever you can do, whatever's allowed to stay connected as much as you can during this time. And then one of the last things that I want to offer here is that we need a place to really, kind of think about our courage, and really recovering our courage and processing our fear. And we have partnered with Transform Leader, and they have produced some of the most amazing tools and resources and things that we use and really share with others. And I highly encourage all of you to we'll put this link in my bio and Collective Global bio and all that stuff. So you guys can click on that link. And what it does, it really helps you find your courage in this times of uncertainty. And it really helps you think about your fears in the current situation at different polarities. So I really want all of you to click on that and take that. It'll take you about 10-15 minutes, but it's a good process. And we talk about process with yourself, and then